Hello everyone, this is MainMan925 on Instagram, Overland Bound, Tacoma World, and Expedition Portal. Today we're out at Carnegie Off-Road Park with our Jeep and our Tacoma, and we're gonna get stuck in some mud. Why? Because we have traction boards. So everybody always told me, you don't have Maxtrax, then they're not very good. And I had what was called Masa traction boards, or escaper buddies, and I had them for years and they worked great. I never had a problem, never broke one, but everybody always said, well, they aren't Maxtrax, they don't work as good as Maxtrax. So what I did is I went out and I bought the other three competitors. No one sponsored me. That was my money. I bought these products and I'm gonna let you guys know which one's best. This is gonna be the first video in a series of videos that are gonna cover mud, sand, and snow, and then we might even do some bridging. So here we are today, and we're gonna test them all out. On the far left, we have tread. So this is the tread 1100, and it feels sturdy, maybe a little heavy. I noticed right away it has a really nice shovel on the back, and nice handles all around. Literally 6 handles. I did add these ropes because I was worried about losing them in the mud. So I just took some rope, I tied it to it, it's red, and hopefully I don't lose them. The second up are my trusted boards of years. These are the Max Innovations boards. They are by far the longest. They feel just as sturdy as the treads. One thing I do know from years of use is these do not stack very well. Over here we have traction jack. I like that these are small. They fit in the back of the Jeep, no problem, and they seem to be doing all right. For their size and price, so far seem like a good buy, but we'll see. No handles though. That is one thing I noticed right away. Alright, here it is, Maxtrax. This is the one everybody knows, everybody recommends. And so far I like them. They're a little light, they stack really well, and they have nice handles. But we'll see how they compare to the others. By far the most expensive though. Let's see if we can get stuck in some mud. Alright guys, so I believe all of these traction boards recommend not having your tires at highway PSI. So I'm gonna let about 10 pounds of air out of my tire so I get better traction on the boards, and I also don't wear the boards as fast. Normally you would do this after you got stuck before using the boards, but I already know I'm gonna get stuck. I'd rather do it while the tire's not super muddy. So I'm gonna let a little air out of my tires, and then we're gonna go get officially stuck. Lauren, come on, you can get out of there. Come on. Come on, you can get out. You can't get out of there? Alright guys, I think she's stuck. Let's start filming. We're testing the Max boards. There's one on each side. I didn't do any pre-digging because we dug it out last time for the last boards. So here we go, Lisa. She's out. Alright guys, first test of the Jeep is Max Innovations Escaper Buddy. Maxtrax test 2. guys, this is Maxtrax on the Jeep Test 1. Alright, these are your tread 1100s. Try number 2. So buddy.
There's a towel in the truck.
Alright, traction jack up again. A compact storing traction board.
And off.
Alright, we back up, we'll load them up. As soon as I get unstuck. Traction jacks. Why don't you test those out, honey?
Woo! Those are good!
Alright guys, a little bit of things I liked, things I didn't like. Traction jack. Things I like, the size of it, and the fact that it works. It worked just as well as any of the other boards. Things I don't like. Doesn't have handles. No real easy place to grab it, especially when it's covered in mud, really heavy. Things I do like. It's very bright. It was easy to see when it was buried in the mud. I like the lanyard that it comes with. Was able to help me pull it out a few times when I couldn't really get my fingers under it. The nubs all still appear to be there for the most part, so that's good news. And like I said, I like the size. It's perfect for somebody who's going to keep their boards in the vehicle. Okay, Maxtrax. I'm starting to get why these are kind of expensive. I'm not saying it's worth it. They're wearing decently. A couple of the treads are almost gone. I like the handles. They seem sturdy, they're in the right place. I like the leash. They come with a leash. It's bright, so if you pick a color like I did that's tan and kind of hard to see in the mud, you can still see the leash when you got to pull it out. I like the way these stack. They stack, you could probably get 4 of them in the space I can fit 2 Masa boards or 3 treads. So that is significant. Alright. They do seem sturdy, but they're also flex. And what I found out here today is flex is very important. The traction jacks were able to bend in a nice spot to keep the angle of the terrain not too harsh, because if the angle of the terrain is really harsh, then it's really climbing. Because these flexed a little bit, it didn't force the vehicle to climb. I saw that a lot on the treads. They didn't flex at all. Man, and I noticed the nubs are for the most part still there. A couple of them have worn a little bit. So far no damage to the board, but I did notice on these, they don't really flex, so that causes you to have to climb a significantly higher angle. They still worked, so I don't know if that is going to be an issue for someone eventually, but I did notice that. Also made it kind of harder to fit under the lower vehicle like the Jeep. So these handles are nice, but you can't, they're not like the ones with holes. I mean, they're nice handles, but they're not as nice as having a hole there. Alright, my Masa boards. These did just as well as all the others today. Keeping all the nubs for the most part. A couple of them worn down a little bit, but still there. And These are also very heavy when they're full of mud. And these are also the longest. I do like the handles on these, and these do have a nice little bit of flex and give when you're climbing and the terrain isn't exactly flat. Really happy with how these are still performing. Alright guys, we've been out here a couple hours and we have gotten both vehicles significantly stuck and unstuck several times. The Jeep did have four-wheel drive, but the tires weren't up to it, so it wasn't too hard to get stuck. And then the truck, we got stuck in two-wheel drive, and we also rescued a few people. But while we were out here, we did test every traction board at least twice on both vehicles, and it actually, every time, they got the vehicles out. So far, not a significant difference in performance between any of the traction boards. So I'm thinking it's going to come down to a few odds and ends and consumer preference on price. So far, none of the boards have broken. Some of them are showing signs of wear. And we're going to let you guys know what's been worn, what hasn't been worn, and what we liked, what we didn't like. So look out for an article coming soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video.
And shout out to Crazy Beaver.